Welcome to the banks, the bonny banks of Loch Lochy. I have officially dragged Pauline out this evening, but hopefully she's going to enjoy it and she's going to be grateful for the fact that I brought her out.
It's not because I didn't want to come.
It's not because she didn't want to come, but at the moment I can understand why, because it's pretty boggy. We're coming around the banks, but hopefully we're going to have an epic view of the Ben and the Nevis range, and it should be a nice evening of probably simplistic mountain views and beautiful colours. That's what I'm hoping for. But you never know. You never know in Scotland, do you? You never know what's around the corner. But this is what's around this one. Oh wow, look at that view. There is some beautiful light right now on the side of the Ben. And what's unusual about the location that we're at right now is you get to see the north face of the Ben. It's jagged ridges and snow cap. It looks beautiful. And it's getting kissed by the evening light setting over there. I think there's a composition here, and then maybe have a little bit of a walk around the bay and see if we can spot another one. So I'll show you what I'm looking at, because it is quite nice. First of all, it is bright up this end, but what I've got is I've got this little section of rocks leading your eye down, some beautiful light kissing the end, and then that's coming straight across into the Ben, the north face just up there, and it's got a nice cap of clouds. Now I could go wider and include this bright bit of blue sky, but that's only taken away from the scene, so I'm not going to keep that in there. I'm going to crop that out. It's not needed, not needed at all. I'm going to put my polarizer on the water, and what that's doing is it's cutting out the glare coming in off the side, and it's actually helping to enhance the reflection of the Ben itself. And I'm going to shoot this picture on f11 because I do have something in the immediate foreground and I do have something in the background, but I am going to focus to infinity. And I'm going to shoot this exposing for the background, and then I'm going to shoot another shot exposing for the rocks in the immediate foreground. I've got it on a 2-second timer and I've just fired it off. And look at them mountains in the background. Don't they look epic? Absolutely epic. And I actually quite like the way it's exposed in that foreground, how I've got shadows on them rocks in the immediate foreground running through to a lighter part. Unfortunately, I'm not getting the direct light on them rocks anymore. I spent too much time waffling, which is often the case, which is a little bit annoying. So I'm going to raise the exposure slightly, and then hopefully that will sort of not give that feeling of a brighter exposure, but line up a little bit so it's not just shadow, grey rocks, sun. But this way it's working really well, because what is happening is you're getting raw into that light that's on the Ben. And it's the first composition. It's nice, it's solid, it's pretty, I'm happy. But I am going to carry on having a little wander around the bay and see what else we can find. These tree stumps are really cool, but I'm not sure how I would put them into the scene. but I like them. I think they've got some very funky shapes. And I think on a starry sky, they would look incredible on their own. Maybe an idea for another week, another vlog, another week. So I've been for a bit of a walk all the way to the end of the bay, and then it starts to get a bit unsurpassable. Unable to get round there. And so I decided to come back. And I think what I might try and do is I might capture a sneaky little shot of them tree stumps with the Ben in the background. I'm not sure how I'm going to pull them together and create that thing, that shot. So I'm going to head back to them stumps and see if I can work them into something. I think the first thing I'm going to do, get the camera off the tripod and see what I can do. See how they look as I move around them. Okay, so we've got two winners, and hopefully they're going to give a different feeling. But the first one and the last one. But I'm going to start off by capturing the first one. So you might hear Pauline whizzing around with the drone in the background. She's capturing some B-roll. This is her first night to sort of free with the drone, so it'll be interesting to see what footage she comes out with. Make sure to leave a comment at the end if you like what she's done, because I think she's going to be pretty good. So what I've got down here in the immediate foreground is I've got this tree branch coming around, this tree root, sorry, coming round into this stump, and there we are, I'll get it nice and sharp. And then that's pointing up into the mountain off in the background. There we are, sharpen that up a little bit. It's simple, but there's a couple of things that work quite well. So what works is the fact that I've got this root coming this way into here, and the root coming out of it into the water, guiding your eye into the scene. The rock at the end, I think works. I ain't going to change it, I'm not going to move it, but I think it works. And obviously the mountains in the background, they work. They're mountains, they always work. But what I can't decide is whether to bring my tripod a little bit lower. 1 second. So then eliminating how much water is in the shot and how much empty space is in the middle of that foreground. Well, in the midground. So now by bringing that lower, like that, it reduces how much empty space and hopefully helps improve that final image. So I'm going to shoot this on a focus stack. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the mountain in the background. What I like to do is I like to open up my aperture all the way and then focus it by eye. And I think that that gets the most accurate sharpening by creating that shallow depth of field, and then I can go to the correct f-stop. And because I'm focus stacking it, I'm going to shoot this on f8. I'm going to get the correct exposure so nothing's blown out. And the easiest way to do this is to check your histogram. Now you can see none of my highlights really getting anywhere near close to clipping, but by bringing the exposure higher and exposing for longer, taking in more light, I should get more information. But what I need to make sure is that none of it is blown out. So now I've got my mountains and I can look in there and I should be able to see if anything is clipped. Now what I want to do is I want to come back and I want to focus on the furthest thing in the immediate foreground. So I'm going to focus right on the very peak of this. So I'm going to open up my aperture all the way. Let's go back to f8. And now that should make the entire beach nice and sharp. But that is really crushing the information and the blacks. So I don't want to do that. And because I've already got the information up here, that doesn't matter too much. I can lose that. And I think that is quite nice because I'll be able to dodge and burn this section here and bring it out a little bit brighter. So I'm going to capture that there. So now that I've captured these two elements and focused on the mountains, focused on the tree stump, exposed for the mountains, exposed for the tree stump, blend them together, I should end up with a nice, solid, well-rounded image. And these might not be the conditions that absolutely blow everyone away, but I am excited about this. And I think the shot's going to be quite nice. Can you hear the drone up there? I think she's having fun. Right, now onto the next tree stump. So how was your experience doing a bit of B-roll, Pauline?
Very scary.
Yeah? What was scary about it?
It didn't want to return home. Told me to return it home myself, and it was lucky that it was just above my head. Otherwise, we'd have lost it.
That must be pretty scary, having the drone all the way up there and it not wanting to return. So I was having a little think earlier on while I was packing up my camera, and I thought one of these tree stumps might lend itself quite nicely to this baby, my ultra wide. And by going ultra wide, you can really mess with perspectives and change how a scene looks. But let me get you set up and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so what I'm gonna do to change the feeling of this shot is I'm gonna go high, wide, and hopefully capture a nice solid image. That's about the right height there. Will he find the right focal, the right height for his tripod? Or will he spend the rest of sunset? And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. I finally got the right height for my tripod. Okay, so I'm going to be shooting down onto that stump, and it's going to take quite a lot of focus stacking to be able to create this image. But I think it's going to be worth it. There we are. So again, what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of that blank space of the water by getting that camera lower to the scene. The first shot I'm going to capture is the mountains off in the background, because that's where the light's going to change most. And I don't want the mountains to feel too claustrophobic. So I'm going to make sure I've got a nice bit of blue sky just above. So right at the edge of the water. Then I'm going to come down to the bottom of the tree closest to me. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the top of that tree stump closest to my lens, and yeah, hopefully build a nice image. And because it's that kind of weird mystical kind of shapes and tree roots with mountains, I think for the water what I might do is I might go over to f16, change my ISO, go down to my lowest native, and then get a bit of a longer exposure on that water. Let's go f22. So now with that still water, the tree stump, the possible still water, mountains, bit of sky above, should be a nice image. Fingers crossed. And this location is one I'm definitely going to return to. I love the fact I've got these tree stumps down here. I've got this little quiet beach, this little lovely bay. That's just kind of like, it's all ours to shoot. There's not really any parking up on the road, so it's hard for people to discover stuff like this. You kind of just got to come out and have a look and see what you can create. And I think the first shot was nice. It was simple. It was the easy shot. The rocks were leading the right way. I had light on the end leading into the bend. Beautiful. Then these ones here, a little bit different really. A little bit more artistic. You can imagine them as a set on a movie leading into the mountain in the background. They almost make it seem a little bit more Lord of the Rings-esque. But a beautiful evening nonetheless. I am going to stay here and I am going to carry on shooting, but I think I'm going to finish the vlog here. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope the way I've shot these is interesting, and I hope the B-roll's good. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. But thank you very much for doing a bit of flying, Pauline, and thank you very much for watching. If you have stayed to this point, maybe it's time for you to hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up, send me some love. Pauline's off to go and fly the drone a little bit more. And that's all from me this week. So peace out, peeps. Bye.